In this video, I'm going to share with you how to structure a virtual group coaching program so that it's efficient, leverages your time, and also generates profits. The awesome part about having a group coaching program is that it leverages your time and allows you to do less work and make more money. Now, the problem, however, there are a few problems with it, a few challenges that people run into and that I run into when I switched from a one-on-one coaching model to a group model. The number one challenge that I found is that people have a belief that group coaching is not as valuable or effective as one-on-one coaching. And the even bigger problem is that not only do people have that belief, but coaches themselves, you might even have that belief. I had that belief, and that can really get in the way of us creating a valuable, profitable group coaching program. In reality, believe it or not, I have come to the conclusion that group coaching is more valuable than one-on-one coaching because there's a magic that gets created in the group itself that you couldn't possibly deliver on your own. I call it the magical unicorn syndrome. We coaches sometimes get into this magical unicorn syndrome where we think we have to have all the answers and be the source of all the magic for our clients. In a group coaching program, what happens instead is that you're tapping into the magic of the collective. So that's a really important thing to remember as you start to structure and design your group coaching program. If you find yourself constantly putting yourself at the center of the program and making yourself the resource and the source of all the benefits and opportunities, then you're going to end up exhausted and you won't be able to scale and grow. So the thing to think about as we move into this how to structure a group coaching program is how to take yourself out of the mix and how to tap into the collective wisdom and the collective magic of the group. So before I get into the actual strategies for designing your group coaching program, I want to tell you a little bit about my story so you can understand how I learned this and maybe even learn some of the lessons I learned the hard way in a much easier way. So I used to do one-on-one coaching. For years, I did strategy sessions. I did 6-month programs, 6-session programs. I did one-on-one half days and full days, every kind of one-on-one coaching you can imagine. And it got to the point where I was exhausted. And I found myself repeating a lot of the same content over and over and over again and getting sick of even myself, hearing myself say the same things over and over again. That said, I really believe that that was the number one best way for me to deliver value. And that's what clients wanted. They came to me asking for one-on-one, and I wanted to serve them. I wanted to deliver what they wanted, so I complied. Now, what happened was in 2014, I had a big breakdown. I was so exhausted of delivering so much work and also the hustling that it took to get all that business and to get my business to a level where it was, healthy. I was no longer healthy. The business was doing well, but I wasn't doing well, and I had that breakdown. And what I realized is that I had a business model that was designed to keep me enslaved. It was designed to keep me working all the time because I had to work in order to make money. So the big breakthrough I had was I met a mentor. This mentor, Jake, he was running these 3-day retreats, these business breakthrough 3-day things with 10 entrepreneurs. He invited me to his 3-day retreat. And in that retreat, I had a massive breakthrough. Basically, had the idea that I was going to copy his business model because it was so good that I was going to start running these 3-day retreats and then enroll people into a group program. The problem was I had a deep-seated belief that the group program was less valuable than one-on-one and that people would get less of me. Like one-on-one, you get more face time. And in a group, you get less face time, ergo, less value, right? That was the belief that I went into it, which made it hard for me, by the way, to sell the program at a higher price point. Because I didn't think it was as valuable as one-on-one, I automatically had a lower price point for the group program. Fast forward 2 or 3 years, and I had this group program starting to really hum, and I was getting better people into it. I was enrolling higher quality people at a higher level in business. And what I started realizing was that they were starting to meet with each other and they were helping each other. And we would get on the group call and they would say, oh, I met with so-and-so and she helped me structure my new offer for my big back end. And I'd be like, wow, I didn't have to do that. Look at that. She got her new big back end structured and I had nothing to do with it. And that kept happening. And then I started getting smart and realizing, wait a second, maybe I can build this into the program. And so one of the things that I did was I created a year 2-3 program. So people would complete their first year and then move into a 2-year program called a leadership cabinet. And the leadership cabinet, part of what they got was a reduced price in order to support the people in the first year. And that's when the business started to really, really grow. And it started to feel more energy rich because I was now just responsible for and focusing more on cultivating and curating the right people and then holding the standards for the container, holding the values for the culture and for the community. So here are some of the things that I learned as I went through that transition and as I started to grow and raise the price point and retain clients for longer. The first thing is that it is so important who are the people that you bring into your group coaching program. See, in a one-on-one coaching program, it's no big deal if you pick up a bad client or someone who's not a right fit because it won't affect all your other clients. But in a group coaching program, one bad apple can truly spoil the bunch. If you have somebody who's really negative or someone who dominates the conversation, it's going to annoy all your other clients. And you might lose clients because you have that one bad client. Now, another solution too, by the way, is to work on your leadership skills and help to lead that person into being a more aligned fit for your group. But my recommendation is rather than having to do all that work, I'd rather just find great people, bring them into the mix. And when I say great people, I mean people who have a lot of value to contribute to the community, people who are like-minded, who have similar value system, and then people who share some sort of commonality that they're going to be able to cross-pollinate and give good ideas to each other. So those are some of the criteria you might think of, and there might be more that I haven't even mentioned. But just understanding that who you bring into the culture is so, so important. The second thing that I want you to look at is your pricing. One of the biggest problems that I see with people starting group coaching programs, and like I mentioned earlier, is that they tend to drop the price too much because they have a belief, a subconscious belief, that group coaching is less valuable than one-on-one. Now, I'm going to challenge you to instead really look at the value that you're going to provide by bringing these people together and charge a boutique price, meaning a higher price point for a higher value opportunity. And when you do that, you don't need as many people. You don't have to have a huge group of people. You can have a smaller group. Think about it. You can have 10 people at $1,000 a month. That's already $10,000 a month. Or you'd have 100 people at $100 a month. It's a huge difference in the type of operation that it takes to serve 100 people versus 10 people. Now, I'm not saying don't do it. If you're someone who's super techie and you love working on online platforms and you like, building out websites or membership communities, then by all means, go for it. Do the mass model. But the other thing about the mass model that I want you to consider is that it takes a lot more marketing to fill that. It takes more traffic. It takes more follow-up, more funnels. A smaller community at a higher price point, you can usually fill it by hand just by getting on the phone with people. That's what I did. This conversation about pricing is so powerful and so important that I've recorded special videos just about pricing. You can check them out up here, and please subscribe to my channel for future videos about this and about pricing. Aside from the magic that gets created by pulling the right people together in a group coaching program, you also want to think about other elements that you can add into the mix to make it more valuable, more transformational. So one of those things to think about is, what content do you already have? Is there anything that you've already recorded? Any programs, any speeches, any content that's already created that you can bring into and incorporate to the program? Or maybe do what I did and you start to create it on the fly. So when I started my group coaching and mastermind program, every Monday we would have a master, actually my coach, come in and do a Mindset Monday call. He did that for over a year, and we recorded every single one of those calls. Now I have an entire mindset library of all those sessions that he did in what we use the platform Thinkific, but you can use Kajabi, Thinkific, any number of libraries or any number of platforms to store your content. So we keep everything in Thinkific. We have this entire mindset library in there that we recorded 5 years ago and that people are still listening to. Same thing with my own content. Every month or so, I would do a mastery call with my group coaching program. And in that mastery call, I would introduce a new concept or a new piece of content. And then we would discuss it, we would work on it, and for the rest of the month, we would mastermind it, we would dive deep into it. But I would record that mastery call, and that became part of our content library. So even if you don't have a content library yet, you can create one as you go. So you deliver the material, record it, and then it becomes part of that repository. So another thing I'm a big believer in is tapping into your network, your colleagues, your mentors, people that you know, that you've learned from, that can deliver value to your program. Now, there are two benefits. There are probably a lot more than two, but there are at least two benefits to doing that. The first is that you add more value to your clients by introducing them to content that's outside the scope of what you do. And the second thing it does is it forges alliances with these other masters. And you can even monetize those alliances too. You can have affiliate agreements with them that if any of your clients buy into their programs, then they pay you an affiliate commission. Or what you can do, what I've done, is you say, all right, whatever that affiliate commission would be, I just want to offer it as a discount to my clients. So there's some masters that offer 50% affiliate fees when people buy their programs, and I just say, hey, just pass that along as a discount to my clients. That way my clients get extra added value from being in my group. One of the big considerations as you look at structuring a group coaching program is how you're going to manage enrollment. Now, there are a few different ways to do this, but two main categories. One is called open enrollment, one is called closed enrollment. In open enrollment, you allow people to come in anytime that they want. So you could, on January 1st, you could have a call with somebody and enroll them in the program. January 10th, enroll another person, February 1st, and so on. Or in closed enrollment, you say, all right, I have these open periods. It's closed all year except for these specific moments where you can enroll. That's what we use. Now, you might think that open enrollment is better because you can always enroll people and that creates more sales. But what the research actually shows, which is surprising, is that closed enrollment actually increases sales. And the reason for that is that it naturally creates urgency. So for example, if you have 4 open enrollment periods during the year, that means that you'll have a deadline and say, hey, we're open for enrollment until this date. That gives you an excuse to email people, call people, be on top of people, and let them know, hey, if you don't sign up now, you're going to have to wait till the next open enrollment period. And what that does is that creates urgency and scarcity, and people are more likely to sign up. So actually closed enrollment, and the fewer enrollment periods you have, usually the higher enrollment you get. We have open periods every quarter. We do a retreat every quarter, and at our retreat, we invite people to enroll in our group coaching program. And that's the only time that you can enroll in our program. So what'll happen is, we have this deadline. By the end of the retreat, you enroll. We usually give people 1 or 2 days afterwards, just in case they need a little extra time. But then we close up the enrollment again. They have to wait until the next open period. And a lot of times that's enough to have people say, all right, fine, let me sign up now. I want to start this thing, rather than saying, I'll wait. If you have open enrollment all the time, people can say, oh, let's talk next month, or let's talk in a couple weeks, and they tend to put it off. Now, here's something that I started doing a few years into my program. I didn't do this from the beginning because I didn't have the recurring revenue yet, the level of recurring revenue where I felt I could afford it, and I didn't really feel like I had the need right at the beginning. But you could do this right away, or you could wait a little while like I did, which is that I hired someone else to start delivering value to my crew. So the first person that I ever had support me was an additional coach, someone who could provide coaching in the areas that I wasn't so strong. So right now, for example, we have an accountability coach. Now, I'm really good with ideas and strategies and creative marketing and business models and all that stuff. But what I don't love to do, and what I'm really truly not so great at, is tracking. Right? Spreadsheets and accountability tracking and making sure people are on track with their deadlines and their project management. I have no desire to do any of those things, but I recognized that my clients needed support in those areas. And that if I really wanted to be able to help them grow and transform, I needed to provide support there. So I hired an accountability coach. Now, that might sound like a really big deal to you, but you'd be surprised. accountability coach, you can find one that charges 20, 25, 30 bucks an hour. And all they have to do is meet for a half an hour a month with a client so that they can identify, all right, these are the areas that the client wants accountability on. So every month we're going to check in on these areas and see if we want to add or subtract a few areas. That's a 30-minute phone call, maybe a 45-minute phone call once a month. So you're investing maybe 20, 30, at the most, let's say $50 per month on a client to offer this huge value proposition to them. Very much worth it. So those are some of the strategies of how to structure a group coaching program. Another thing you want to think about is how often do you want to meet? In the beginning, I met twice a week, which was a little bit much. At one point, we actually met 3 times a week, which was way too much. Now we're down to meeting once a week for 90 minutes every week, which sounds like a lot to some people, but for us, it really gives us that rhythm of check-in. Some of those calls are me leading them. Sometimes I bring in a master. Sometimes we're doing a mastermind structure with breakout sessions. Sometimes we're just sharing updates with each other and talking about what's going on in the world. So I mix it up to keep it engaging. I hope some of these strategies were helpful for you. And the last thing I want to leave you with, which isn't so much about the structure, but rather about the marketing and the enrollment piece. You have to remember that if you do all these things that I talked about, you will have magic that gets created in the group. And I want you to think seriously about pricing that value proposition even higher than you might price a one-on-one coaching program. What I've discovered is that people join my program because they want to be part of this family. They want to be part of this culture where people talk in a different way. They are more positive, more contribution oriented. There's such a value to them being part of the culture that they're actually willing to invest more and stay longer than in most coaching programs. And I really believe that's because I am not trying to be the source of all the value in the program. If you found value in this video and you're at a stage where you're looking to grow into a more scalable group coaching model, let's connect. This is what I do best. This is what I help my clients do. Let's have a discovery call and explore if and how I might be able to support you. It's free and you can sign up at superstaractivator.com/go. I'll see you soon.